Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now our group with course code HEB2062 will present about schizophrenia. First of all, let me introduce about our group members. First is me, Ahmad Yassin bin Muhammad Surajim, with metric number 200094. Second is Azlan bin Soroto with metric number 20001114. Third is Muhammad Amar bin Muhammad Adnan with metric number 19001680. Fourth is Muhammad Yazid bin Amin with metric number 20000048. Fifth is Nur Atika Amirah binti Muhammad Sofi with metric number 19001598. And last but not least is Muhammad Iman bin Rosrili with metric number 19001780. Today our group will present about definition of schizophrenia, data and statistic, diagnosis, prevention, support, medication, rehabilitation, causes of factors, and news. So let's continue to the definition part.
For my part, I will be explaining on the definition of schizophrenia. According to World Health Organization 2019, schizophrenia is a serious and chronic mental illness that affects 20 million people worldwide. Schizophrenia causes problems with thinking, perception, emotions, language, self-awareness, and also behavior. Hallucinations, hearing voices or seeing things that aren't there, and delusions are common. Schizophrenia is linked to significant disability over the world, and it can impact educational and occupational performance. Schizophrenia patients are 2 to 3 times more likely than the normal population to die young. This is frequently linked to preventable physical ailments such as cardiovascular disease, metabolic disorders, and infections. People with schizophrenia face a lot of stigma, discrimination, violation of their human rights. Schizophrenia can be treated. Medicines and emotional assistance are effective treatments. Hazli and Ng 2019 mentioned that schizophrenia is a severe mental illness marked by significant disturbance in thought, language, perception, and self-awareness. It frequently includes psychotic symptoms such as hearing voices or having delusions. Schizophrenia patients may appear to be out of touch with reality. There is no single cause of schizophrenia specifically, rather several variables combine to develop specific mental illnesses. Schizophrenia is most commonly diagnosed in late adolescence or early adulthood.
Hi guys, so my name is Muhammad Amar, and I will discuss our next subtopic of our group project, which is data and statistics of schizophrenia. In this subtopic, we will discuss how common is schizophrenia cases, how many people suffer schizophrenia, and other fun fact about schizophrenia. So let's moving on. As you can see in the pie chart here, this pie chart represents the common disease that related to psychology, psychiatry. So schizophrenia here has the one of the lowest percentage of occurrence. So we can conclude that schizophrenia is not as common as any other diseases like unipolar affective disorder or bipolar affective disorder. It has the least occurrence to happen in people. Moving on to the bar graph. This bar graph represents the percentage of US population with schizophrenia from 2000 until 2020 by gender, which is male and female. So from 2000 until 2017, the light blue, which is represent male, always have the higher percentage rather than the female, which is in dark blue. So we can conclude that men is more likely to affected to suffer schizophrenia rather than female. More info about schizophrenia is, if your family already have history of suffering schizophrenia, you only have 10% to develop schizophrenia. The second thing of schizophrenia is it has 2 or 3 times higher rate of death than normal population rate. And the third one is World Health Organization, which is WHO, stated that 69% people with schizophrenia did not receive appropriate treatment. This is because there are 90% of them are from low and middle class town, which is, we can say that the town does not have any expert to treat people with schizophrenia. So I will pass to the next presenter.
People usually knows that schizophrenia symptoms are delusions, hallucination, disorganized speech or behavior, and the negative symptoms. But this illness is actually differ from one person to another person. According to Chris D. Fripp, there are 3 levels to clarify if someone is having schizophrenia. The first level is cognitive, which is to know how the patient has the symptoms. The second level is psychological, which to know why the patient has the symptoms. And the last level is experiential, which to know what the patient experience. These levels can differentiate the patient between normal or abnormal cases. After the doctor check the patient, they are going to differentiate them by 2 types of schizophrenia, which is the patient with the cognitive basis on the anarchic hand sign or the patient with the cognitive basis of the control on the delusion. Patients with cognitive basis on anarchic hand sign, or called as alien's hand, are no longer determined by the goals but solely by the current context, such as the patient can see the doorknob but they cannot reach it. This is because they are incompatible to their goals. The second types of patient that cognitive basis on delusions control are fails to imagine the predicted consequences of action, such as they can reach the doorknob, but then they are not aware of it, and this is how they tend to do things again and again, and it seems weird to an outsider.
In this slide, I will talk about the prevention of schizophrenia. So as we know, schizophrenia is one of the symptoms that can be avoided because it is a mental problem by the brain, caused by the brain. It is rarely to have in family gene because researchers shows that there is no single gene that thought to be responsible. However, this does not necessarily mean you will not develop schizophrenia during teenagers. As we know, we should not take drugs when we are teenagers because that can really affect the brain activity, because it might damage the brain and moreover make our brain too vulnerable and develop schizophrenia.
The next topic is how to support schizophrenia patient, but before that we need to know how it begins. According to B. McNamara, the patient usually start to having the symptoms of the illness and then they go to seek the doctor. But after they seek the doctor, most of them got bad experience or feel threatening, and sometimes they got misdiagnosed. After that, people start to avoid them because of their weird speech or act, and because of these factors, they do not get support and it becomes worse. There are 3 factors on how to support people with schizophrenia. The first factor is from individual. People who start having the symptoms should not be afraid to approach to other people and need to seek doctor. The second factor is from the healthcare services. The doctor should check the patient carefully so it does not get misdiagnosed, and need to be friendly and calm when talk to them so they can rest assured. The last factor is from the social. Peers, family or stranger need to have at least a little conversation to them and encourage them so they can build a well advocate to navigate their complex life.
This slide I will talk about medication in schizophrenia. So the use of medication is the most important part in the treatment of schizophrenia by blocking the particular chemical receptors in the brain. So there are 2 categories of drugs, which is conventional and atypical. which come in variety of formats, including tablets, syrups, and injections. So, in medication, we also have medication management, which the primary goal is to improve the quality of life. It is really tough to take medicine at the same time a day, as you know. We need to get the consistency to make our body to get the antibody we take to protect us from getting vulnerable and getting sick. It's also important to take medication on schedule and consistent, as it can help us to take care of our body in daily life.
Next, I'm going to talk about rehabilitation of schizophrenia. The first one is cognitive remediation. Cognitive remediation is behavioral training-based intervention that aims to improve cognitive process such as attention, memory, executive function, social cognition, or metacognition. Therefore, cognitive orthodontic therapy aims to limit the effects of cognitive impairment on daily functioning. Second one is psychoeducation. Psychoeducation is a systematic, structured, and didactic information about the illness and its treatment, including the integration of emotional aspects that enable the patient autonomy or family to cope with the illness. The third one is cognitive behavioral therapy, which consists of two things. First thing is social skills training. Social skills have three main components. First one is receiving skills, second one is processing skills, and the last but not least is transmitting skills. People's lack of skills is one of the biggest deficits of people with schizophrenia. Impaired social skills can significantly reduce patient autonomy, leading to social withdrawal and isolation. Second one is cognitive therapy. People suffering from mental illness are more likely to exhibit a personal external attribution style. Psychotic CT aims to correct dysfunctional beliefs by helping people understand the relationships between perceptions, belief, emotions, and behavioral response.
Next, I will be explaining on the causes or factors of having schizophrenia. Although no single explanation have been discovered for schizophrenia, various factors have been linked to its onset. Men and women have an equal chance of having this mental disorder throughout their lives. However, men tend to develop it sooner. According to Australian Department Government of Health 2007, it has stated some factors that may be related to schizophrenia. The first and foremost is stress. Yes, stressful events are well known to occur prior to the beginning of schizophrenia. This can operate as triggers in persons who are already sensitive. Before any acute symptoms appear, people with schizophrenia frequently become worried, irritated, and unable to concentrate. These variables are frequently blamed for the development of the sickness, when the illness itself is to blame for the stressful event. In addition to that, Hazley and 2019 have explained that the exact causes of schizophrenia are not really found. However, there are some factors that leads to the risk developing of schizophrenia. It is genetics. Many different genes may enhance the risk of schizophrenia, according to scientists, but no single gene causes the condition on its own. It is now impossible to determine who may develop schizophrenia using genetic information.
So next, I'm going to present some of the news that related to schizophrenia. The first one is from the medical news today that published the information about connection between dopamine and schizophrenia. In the news, they pretty much tell every differences between those two, which is the dopamine and schizophrenia. And the second news is also from the medicals today, which they say linking sleep disturbance with depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and also schizophrenia, which means the sleep disturbance also can cause schizophrenia. So make sure you have a good sleep. I think that's all from us. Thank you.